Hey everybody, it's Jason with JR Custom Designs, Robots for Attachments. You got Chris Licasio with us here on this episode for joining us. Thanks everybody for joining our fourth episode so far. We have a special guest, as you guys might have seen. I guess this is a man that needs no introduction. He's not much to look at, but he'll screw you like the government. Let's welcome our special guest, Chance. How you doing, Chance?
How's it going? It's going great. How are you guys?
Great, man. Thanks for joining us
Doing
on this
well.
episode. I got a list of people that I want to bring on here, and you were definitely at the top of that. I mean, obviously, you've done a lot.
He's got to get better internet.
Yeah, Walmart Wi-Fi, Jason.
He's your community lately. You went from a
Poor guy.
He didn't sell enough rotors.
He's got to crank it.
No,
Get it going
we can hear you
again.
now, Jason.
Anyway, so
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah,
what are you
frozen
on?
in time. You're frozen in time, my friend.
Yeah.
So,
this is gonna
Chance,
be fun.
I did a little bit of research, and it looks like TikTok has made you quite famous, huh?
Yes, quite famous. Fortunately and unfortunately, I get recognized out in public now, and I'm my small town hero per se.
That's pretty cool, though, right?
It is. I mean,
I
was in the woodworking industry, and then all of a sudden, I make hats and apparel now for a living.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, the hats have taken off.
Yeah, 100%. That's the main source of fun and excitement in my day.
And I guess it literally comes down to just creating some funny catchphrases, throwing them on a leather patch, and sticking them on a hat.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like one viral video can make or break a week, honestly.
That is crazy. Yeah. Did you have to add to your machines because of that?
Yeah. So I had the Thunder Laser Nova 35 when I did woodworking, only one of them. And then now I have 5 Thunder lasers and a bolt.
So kind of give us a break, like a rundown of, kind of where you started, what kind of stuff that you did that kind of made you, because I did woodwork as well, so I know kind of your shift and things, but kind of tell us a little bit about your backstory, because like you just appeared out of nowhere, like I mean you were kind of here, but then all of a sudden you were just like, bam, there he is. So kind of, if you don't mind, you don't have to, go into whatever detail you like, but just kind of give us a rundown of your backstory on kind of how it all started, because I mean a lot of people, I assume a lot of people look up to you. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and I kind of look up to you as far as what you've been doing and the success that you've had. So give us.
I don't have a choice. I'm too short, so I have to look up to you.
I'm actually shocked on how many people see me like in person, be like, "Oh, you're tall." So I'm 6'1", and I don't feel tall. But
okay.
Anyways, so first started woodworking back in 2016 with the little 5-piece Ryobi tool set that I got at Home Depot, and my first ever like woodworking project was making pet stairs. Like a 5 or 4 little stepper to go have the pet go from the floor to someone's bed. And then I made my first cutting board in like 2017 and kind of went down that niche. And I actually had like my first viral video for woodworking cutting boards, making honeycomb epoxy on TikTok.
Okay.
And that had like 14 million views, and that drove like 200 sales on my website. Fast forward a couple of years and just slowly invest into the business on doing like woodworking projects. TikTok shop happened now in July of 2023, and I was the first woodworker, or not one of the first, but one of the first few woodworkers to make a hat on TikTok shop. And ever since the hat craze in
Hey, get out of the background. Someone photobombing you.
Ever since the hat craze of 2023, we've just slowly expanded our lineup. So I was in my 3-stall garage for a month and a half, and one of my employees' dads had a pole barn, and then I moved out there for 2 months while we expanded our product lineup and all that fun stuff. And now I'm in a 3,000 square foot warehouse just south of my house.
Nice.
So I went from
That's
hiring
awesome.
my best friend in July to having 31 people on payroll.
Wow.
So it's crazy.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's
is
amazing,
absolutely
man.
insane.
And it's truly living
so
the
what,
American dream.
So what would you say is your what kicked off the hat thing? Like what made you get into doing that kind of stuff?
So I had no intention ever making like sales or whatnot on TikTok shop on hats. I bought a Traeger grill from Ace Hardware and they had no apparel. So my first hat was smoked meat, not meth. And that was what kickstarted the first viral hat on TikTok shop. And I sold like 200 hats in a couple days. I was like, holy crap. Like, I need to put some woodworking stuff to the side and just make hats. And
that's awesome.
One hat to another hat.
So that kind of snowballed into what you're doing now because you're doing shirts and other stuff now too, right?
Shirts, tumblers, sweatshirts now here launched. We do beanies, pretty much any hat, mostly Richardson and FlexFit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if you had any advice for people looking to do this, what do you think that might be? I mean, obviously you haven't been doing it that long. It just kind of seems like it fell in your lap, which is a good thing.
For sure fell in my lap from the sky at about 100 miles an hour.
But what would you say to others looking to do it? Like what?
I would just say post.
What's the key to being able to do this or to do not necessarily like just in general making apparel and things like that?
Well, first and foremost, just post content because you never know what's going to hit or what's going to go viral. And then have a decent website. That's like the second best thing because without a decent website, you're not going to get any sales.
Yeah.
So it could be like a cheap Shopify website that you can buy a template for $20 or even a Wix.com website. But just make content because you never know what's going to go viral. So
yeah, because you got people that run your website, or do you do that? Or
I do the Shopify portion. I do have a couple people that like help design or like build a template. It was one of my college buddies that kind of just pushed a little bit along, but we managed the website for the most part.
So did before we get to this question, so did you need any kind of like a push, or like was there a certain thing that happened that you're like, you know what, I can make this work? Like what was that kind of turning point? Because obviously you went from yourself and your buddy to 30 plus people. Like what was that turning point? And it kind of goes along with Alicia's question on how did you ramp up so fast.
I think it was to the point of I was throwing up due to the stress. I needed more people to help me out.
Yeah.
Honestly, people ask me like how I ramped up so fast. I don't know how I ramped up so fast.
I mean, you didn't have a choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had hired my high school neighbor and his 5 group of friends for the summer because they're out of school and wanted easy cash. IRS, if you're in the chat, I paid them via check. Don't worry. But yeah, the high schoolers helped me out. They did like 12-hour days with me in a hot Minnesota garage in the summertime. But just due to like me throwing up with stress, I needed more people and more help because I couldn't do it alone. So like I have a couple social media managers that manage like Instagram and TikTok messaging. So
that's awesome though. I mean that's a huge leap. Going from 2 or even from 10 to 30.
Yeah.
You're responsible for a bunch of people. Yeah, I mean, like I have a landscape company, and I always think of it that way. Like, all right, well, I'm providing for these people and their families, and now your business is based off of your TikTok and your viewing. The people that view you, and you have to keep that going in order to keep these people employed. So it's impressive that you've ramped up so quickly and you're maintaining not only did you ramp up, but you're still going.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Don't worry. We've had our stressful weeks of like no sales or very few sales on what we're used to. So, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. But
Right.
like what Jason said, I but it flew up so fast. I don't have last year's data to look at. So this is like all new to me too.
Right.
Yeah. I know from a business side of things. I mean, it's
your mom is proud of you. Put that up, Jason. Thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
Appreciate that, Mom.
I mean, from a business side of things, I can understand where you're coming from because, like with us, everything it essentially blew up doing it by myself in a garage to having my employees and stuff. But people got to understand that once you get to that point, it's not like the stress is relieved.
No,
it's just put other places.
Yeah, it's more stress. You figure out how to manage it is all. I mean,
it's more stress, but now that you have people, you can kind of disperse that stress a little bit. But as a business owner, and a lot of people can attest to this, is like I don't do as much as I used to do. Actually, I don't even touch the rotaries, to be honest with you, hardly ever. And I'm sure you're getting to that point too, where you're managing other things and you don't have time so much to do that kind of stuff. And so it's a double-edged sword. It's good to have the business. It's good to have what you have, but then you lose touch with what you love to do. And so it's like I said, double-edged sword. It's a good thing. I mean, I've been watching you since pretty much since you started, and just watching the transformation's been amazing. And that's another reason why I wanted to bring you on to kind of convey your story or how things kind of got started.
I mean, and any way to inspire the maker community. I mean, there's lots of people. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, what you've done is amazing, but there's so many people that have hopped on that wave. They've caught that wave of TikTok or Instagram and just rode it. But we know you, so you're part of this community. So, I mean, it's quite amazing taking one crazy event and turning it into what you did. So yeah, that's really cool. It inspires people for sure.
I have barely taken any money from the business put in my pocket. Like I've reinvested a bunch, and that's what has helped me grow even better and bigger. Like we have a UV printer now. We have 2 t-shirt printers now. Like a big stress was not having enough lasers. I'm thankful for Thunder because those are like basically bulletproof machines.
They are crazy machines, but I mean, you speak to something that I, when I first started back in the day, I went from one little baby machine to 4 within a year. And it was crazy, but you're right. The money, we as entrepreneurs, the money goes directly back into the system.
Yep.
As opposed to ourselves. We see it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Investing into this long-term plan that we don't even know. We have no clue what the plan is. But investing back into it and building this infrastructure is the key. Whether it works or not, we know we have it there so we can provide.
Yeah.
Right? We can provide the product, we can provide the employees and what have you. So yeah, I mean, I think you're doing it absolutely right. Obviously, you got 30 employees. I mean, you're making money. So yeah, badass, man.
We like to have fun. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is having fun. Alicia says find the time to film content, TikTok, Instagram. How do you manage to do that? Do you take time to do it in small bursts, or do you set aside specific time for it?
That's kind of hard. So like, my mind is always racing, and I have the worst ADHD that's not diagnosed by a doctor. Like, I can be pressing a hat and then forget about that hat on the press 30 minutes later, and the hat's ruined. So Alicia, I really don't ever take designated hours to do all the filming. I just film as I go, and thankfully for TikTok, it has that in-app film feature where you can just quick edit on the go. I do need to make time for like my long form content, because that is like a 2024 goal, is to make my YouTuber subscriber count higher. I only have like 35,000 subscribers on there, but
Only?
that's all.
Oh, poor baby.
Poor
That's
thing.
all because of a viral YouTube short that I don't even know what it was. It was and it's a honeycomb cutting board that I made. Had like 30 million views, and I got all the subscribers from there. So I have no like subscriber from long form content.
Huh. Well, either way, subscribers are subscribers, so that's
True.
Right.
good. Good that you got them.
And it's income for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, at a certain point, I'm sure you're monetized by now, right?
Yeah, I think YouTube pays me. I don't know what they pay me, but I get a good old AdSense email invoice every month.
Yeah, you don't have to go into detail on that. It's nobody's
It's like
nobody's business.
You can't retire yet, but it's nice.
Maybe
it's
$20
nice.
a month. I can't even buy Subway for that.
Well, that's awesome. Well, again, thanks for joining us. I mean, if anybody's got any questions out there, please feel free to ask them. I mean, Alicia's been asking a lot. Mom popped in to say hi. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, had one person. Let's see, Joey says you get out what you put into it, and
100%.
you know, I think that's the biggest thing. I've seen a lot of businesses fail because similar to your situation, they hit it big, so to speak, or they started making progress and then they just let it drop off. Or, you know, they get overwhelmed or what have you. There's a lot of things that play into it, but you know, seeing how you handled what you've done is you know, like I said, it's inspiring to me. I mean, I deal with the same stuff every day as you do pretty much.
Yeah.
But you know, it's still awesome to see someone that I know that's doing well like you are.
I appreciate that.
And the constant growth that you've made.
I think that we could probably all agree on, and I know Alicia will probably chime in. It's all about the pivot.
Yeah.
You know, being able to pivot with the growth, or I mean, again, you just said it, Jason. So many people would probably either take that money in and spend it on stupid stuff, as opposed to investing back into the company and growing it and making it happen. It's huge. It drives the economy. You know, it is the American dream. And yeah, I think there's a lot of people that just, oh my God, I just got 100 orders, and what do I do with it?
Yeah.
I'm going on vacation. No, I need to buy another laser so I could do 1,000 orders, right? I mean, it's just a totally different mindset.
Well, that's the big thing too, is like for me personally, it took me, I think, about 5 years before I even took a dime out of the business in a paycheck. Because like you're talking, you know, every penny that I got was invested back into the business in one way or another. And even to this day, I mean, I make about as much as my lowest paid employee. You know, because you know I don't need the money in that regard, but you know, I don't feel like if I can't live off what I make, someone else can't live off what they make. So, you know, I kind of play it that way. So,
well, I mean, you're
being able to pivot like you did, you found
catches that.
I'd say, Jason, maybe invest a little bit better in the internet.
Yeah.
My OnlyFans does me pretty well, but
exactly, your OnlyFans does really well.
But yeah, my internet sucks at the house, so I'm probably in and out. But yeah, I cheap out on internet. I got dial up. I got AOL still.
We know.
Some of you guys might not know what that is. Hey, now watch it.
They do now. They don't want it.
Yeah, but
I couldn't count on how many stressful nights I was by not having enough labor or machines. Like I remember having the laser run 23 hours in one day just to keep up with So like, I don't know. I'm very thankful that
but you
reinvested.
you laid the groundwork and you built from it. So I mean that's what it's all about, because again, a lot of people put the cart in front of the horse and they get themselves in a bind because they can't satisfy their obligations or their commitments, and that's not good for business either. I think with TikTok, don't you have to have like a steady supply of stuff? You can never go on like back order or anything like that with
So
TikTok.
TikTok Shop allows up to 3 business days for you to send the item.
Oh
Okay.
wow,
For the item to be scanned in at the post office.
that's no
Or else
Etsy for sure.
Yeah, or else you get starting dinged in violation points, and more violation points, the less likely they are to push your video out or whatnot. So that is also like another, I don't know, kind of pros and cons. So like pro, is like the user, like we're gonna fulfill the order within 3 days, or the sender, and like pro for the consumer is that they're gonna know that their order will be sent out in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
But con is that you got to put in 20-hour days when you go viral.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I've seen people do with TikTok and stuff, is they get behind, and I think if I'm not mistaken, they'll drop you like a bad habit.
Yeah,
if
so they allow
if
up
you
to
do something like that.
Yeah, they allow up to 48 violation points. And after so many like orders that go not sent out within the 3 business days, it's like maybe 1 point for every 5 orders or something like that. So it can add up
Oh,
real
okay.
quick.
That's pretty cool though. I mean, I actually like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice in this crazy world to have accountability somewhere.
Yep. 100%.
And to actually have customer service and a reliable timeline is unheard of. It's like, all right, that's gonna show up whenever. Like, no, you 3 days, that's it. You got this.
I don't know if you guys know this, but TikTok has distribution centers across America. So you can actually make your goods. Yeah, so you can make your item, send it to their distribution center, and then they'll ship it on your behalf for a small fee.
Wow.
TikTok reached out to me on one of my hats because it was selling so good. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but they wanted X amount of units at their distribution center, and they paid for it up front. And then they pushed that video out to the consumers and basically drop shipped for me. So,
oh, nice.
That is nice.
It was really nice because it guaranteed some income because it was a contract.
Right. Yeah.
But it also sucked making 5,000 of one unit of one color.
It's like a mini Shark Tank without going on Shark Tank. That's right.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is.
So,
I mean, that's like, I don't know if Amazon does the same thing or not, but yeah, that's pretty cool that they do that, because
sure,
obviously they have something to gain, because to put that content out there, now that they have a stock of what you have, so they have a vested interest in actually selling it. So
and if they're reaching out and saying we need this and we're going to promote your video, then you're doing something right. I mean, that's great.
So here's a question. It's at this point it's a very viable question. Are you worried about the TikTok ban? Do you have a backup plan?
Worried is an understatement. But I mean, I do have a backup plan. So like I have my website, YouTube. People are gonna search videos all day, so they'll go to another platform, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or YouTube Shorts. So that'll gain popularity. I do have like a monthly subscription plan for all my hats, and there's quite a few consumers that are on that plan. So that's not guaranteed income, but projected income throughout the month. So there's always a backup plan to a backup plan. But
no, that's good.
Me personally, I don't think TikTok will ever go away or be banned. I have my views.
Yeah, that ship has sailed, I think.
Well, I mean, they actually just brought it up. I mean, it passed the Senate and Congress, or passed the House and Congress. Now it's off to the Senate.
Yeah.
For the bill, but I don't want to be too political, but I don't think it's going to be passed.
No, I don't think so.
Knock on wood.
Right.
So.
Well, that's good. At least you're thinking ahead.
I do like the subscription, and I might even dig into your thoughts on that offline, out of this scenario. But that's an awesome idea to get a subscription based hat income. I mean, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and I thought about doing it for like tumblers and shirts, but I don't know. It all depends. I feel like a hat is more viable than a shirt because I don't feel like I need a shirt every month or a brand new shirt, but who knows?
I know I need a bunch of new shirts.
I am
my
the
shirts
most
all have holes. I tend to chew them. I got all holes in my shirt right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, you got some rotary.
I got too many of them. I go
man.
through them like crazy. Yeah, I saw the one. Let me see if I can pull it back up.
While he's working on that, the Thunders are performing for you, though, huh?
Hands down, the best thing I've ever done. Not a paid endorsement or anything like that. But we run our Thunder lasers 18 hours a day minimum on all the lasers, and all but like 2 big issues that were not user issues happened. But like I got an email from you at like 3 a.m. one day. I was like, "Why are you up?" I sent you at 2:50. Got an email back at 3 a.m. Like 10 minutes later. That's unheard of. So
where are you?
I know you've been bugging me.
Minnesota.
Where?
Minnesota.
Okay, yeah, I was probably just waking up, and that's probably why. It was probably like 5 a.m. here. So yeah,
that's crazy.
So I got a question here. What's the largest diameter that you can engrave with a Talon if you're using the Thunderbolt? The largest I've done is the JDS 32 ounce. I think it's about an 8 or 9 inch diameter. I'm not 100% sure. That's the largest I've done. The 64s are a little bit too big. But I would say safely about 8 inches.
I want to say with a tray and the low roller, you have about 5.5 inches of clearance.
Yeah. I'm looking it up right now to see what size or what diameter those are. So 32 ounce. Of course, they don't give you a dimension. Ain't that awesome?
What about you, Chance? You got anything that you want to ask these two crazy idiots?
Yeah, we got to get it.
Where do you guys find time to do like film and edit and YouTube and all that fun stuff?
Oh man,
you just make time.
Well, for me, one of my employees that I have is actually he does all my new videos. Like if you've seen any new videos in the past few months, those are all his thing, and I'm kind of letting him do it his own thing to kind of find where it kind of all fits in and how it all works. So I let him have pretty much free reign with that. So in that aspect, basically I told him, I said, if we're ever engraving anything, grab the camera. And I told my employees that run the lasers, I said, if you're ever engraving anything, I don't care what it is, let him film it. And that's kind of...
Do you upload that footage to like your Google Drive or like cloud based, so then you do all the editing, or does he do all the editing too?
No, I just give him, he just takes the raw footage. Like if you've seen the Australia trip ones,
yep.
I just gave him all the raw footage and he figured it out, like going, you know how it fades out, like hinting towards the next episode or the next release. So yep. He's done all that. I give him free reign to do whatever he wants. You know, obviously I go through and review the videos before they're posted or before they're anything's done with them. But for the most part, he does all that. I just give him the raw footage and he rolls with it. So I want to start doing more like personal stuff, getting a little bit more, you know, personable with it and, you know, interactive with people. That's why I kind of do the walkarounds and stuff when I go to the events and things like that. Just to, you know, put a face to the business and to the name. I'm not as funny, you know. The funny gene skipped me and went to my nephew, but so I don't have a lot of humor to offer. But
we know.
Yeah, I mean my goal, kind of like yours, in 2024 is to make more content about the products, and try to get more information out and videos and how tos and things like that. So we kind of on the same trajectory with our goals for 2024 in that regard. But like you, trying to find time to do it, on the other hand, is the hard part.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
Chris, I mean, he makes stuff for a living, so.
Yeah, I mean, and even that is difficult. I mean, there's no end to the amount of content that I need to create. In fact, I leave tomorrow at 5 a.m. on a plane to Texas, and I'm sure I'm going to get a directive to on what the new content has to be. But yeah, I mean, I need to really up my game for my TikTok, for my Instagram, and for my YouTube. Because I'm constantly testing and making things just for Thunder as well.
Yep.
Just people sending samples in to test, will it work? Well, I mean, I have Will It Laser. Let's throw a piece of something on there that will catch on fire. Love it. I don't give a shit. So yeah, I mean, I need to start doing more of it. I don't make enough time. I'm quite busy as it is, but yeah, Thunder keeps me quite busy. But yeah, it's difficult to make the time, and the post processing is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. Sitting through and doing. I mean, even if it's time lapse plus a little bit of real time, editing all of that stuff and putting it all together is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And anybody that does it knows how much work goes into it, and it's not appreciated on the other side. I don't think people know how much time goes into a 20-minute clip that was actually like 4 hours probably of work and footage.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but it's worth it, and it's fun.
Yeah, and I think that's
It's
how
like-
90% of the editing is what makes a good video, and not like.
Right.
I mean, the information
Yeah.
obviously makes a good video too, but people are going to subscribe if the edits are good and the content's even better. And
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I know, like when I launched the Talon, I did the video for that. It took me 2.5 hours to make like a 15-minute video. Because it just there's a lot to it. I mean, I used to just shoot video and that was it. And a lot of times I'd try to do everything in one take so I can just do one steady video. But I mean that's so hard to do, especially without a script or anything like that.
Yeah, off the cuff, and then you got to retake it, and then you got to delete and retake. And, it's just the same thing over and over again.
If I had all my swear words in my outtakes, I'd be banned.
Oh, geez.
There's so many times I'm just like, oh, that made no flipping sense. So.
Yeah. Yep, it's fun though. I think when there's time to do it.
Yeah.
But then things pile up and it's not so fun. But
yeah, we all actually have real work to do on top of trying to create media content, so it's difficult.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about business these days is the need for social media. It's not like you can just rest on you have a good product and people know about it and they buy it. Like you got to constantly show new stuff, and like yours, I love your videos, especially your stupid videos where you're just kind of off the cuff and you just make a quick like 10 or 15 second silly video and post it. Stuff like that. I mean, there's not much to it, but it does draw attention.
But it's real. It's real, and that's more important than the stage, than eyelashes like this, and all the fake stuff. I mean, you get into the fake stuff, and then you get into the real stuff. Hey, I want to get this out in the open. I want to tell people what we have coming up, and shit. Grab my camera, and live. That's totally different than a staged, come on, bring the makeup on and put the eyelashes on and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a much more appreciated in social media and by most normal people.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
is
that's the
funny,
kind of
though.
that's the kind of content that I like. I like the authentic content. Like Katie we just had on the last episode. A lot of her content is, some of it scripted, but a lot of it is just genuine, and
Well,
just
I
the
mean,
way it's presented too.
and that's different. I mean, it's scripted for informational purposes, which is different.
Yeah.
You want to portray, or you want to get the correct information out, right? But if you're just publicizing a drop, just coming on screen and just rolling with it, as opposed to, all right, well, what are we gonna say? How do we get the most viewers?
Yeah.
Or just
It
coming
is-
out and doing it.
Yeah. It is kind of frustrating, though, like the 15-second clips that take a minute to edit get the best
Yeah.
views when you spend 4 hours to make a 1-minute clip and gets like
Nothing.
2,000 views. Yeah.
Zero. Right.
Yeah.
But
So-
I mean, like what you said, Chris, it's passionate and like honest and not fake.
It is. It is,
And that's what makes
means a
it
lot.
good. Because I mean, there's so many fake people out there right now that are just basically clickbaiting, and they're doing just that. I think is not just in our community, but just as a whole, is like people are just putting stuff out there. A lot of it's scripted, and it just loses its character. It loses, to me, anyways. It loses its character. It loses its viability because.
We'll speak. Chance will speak to ADHD. Just get to the point. Get to the point. Tell me what I need to know. What do I need to know? Oh, cool. All right. I mean, you leave me along for too long,
Yep.
and I'm over there.
Yeah.
I'm done. That's it. It's over. You lost me. Will the bolt?
All right, so we got a question here. Will the bolt?
Yes.
Yes, it will very well. Like me for one, and
go ahead. Go. You go.
no, I was gonna say me for one. Like I don't use any tapes. I don't use any films, sprays, anything. It just once you dial in the settings, you'll get amazing results right off the bat. And,
so one of the bad things about the bolt is there's too much detail. I mean, the beam is so fine, you're ablating glass. The glass is exploding when you're hitting it with the laser. So it's very hard. It's not the same as a regular CO2, CO2 laser glass tube. It's a much finer beam. So like with a glass tube, you can focus into the glass, about 1 to 2 millimeters off of the glass, and you get a sandblasting effect. But with the RF, I have not been able to achieve that. You're still going to get the ablation and the micro fracturing, which sucks. But it will do it quite well.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know a good way around it, to be honest.
The best way I've found, and it works for the Novas, the Bolt, or the Odin that I have, is you want to go as fast as you can with as little power as needed to just basically kiss the surface, like you're sandblasting. You don't want to intentionally try to dig deep into it, so you don't want to hit it with a lot of power. And then the speed itself helps because it doesn't allow the beam to kind of dwell for too much to create heat, because the glass will trap heat, and that's where you get a lot of that fracturing, is when that beam hits it and it's hot. It's just, it pops. And you're still going to have hiccups. You're still going to have hiccups doing it the way I do it without any coatings or anything like that sometimes. But if you take the time and kind of learn the machine and figure out what you can do and what you can't do with it, you can achieve really good results with it. the thing with the Jeff mentions the Blaze Orange. That stuff works, but it's kind of like
Well,
you're masking a problem, or you're masking a technical issue with a Band-Aid to make it work.
There's so many things out there about, all right, let's put a paper towel on, let's put KY jelly, let's put, what are we going to use to mitigate the heat? And none of it worked. I've tried it all. Palm olive, that's not KY jelly, but you get where I was going. Either way,
where's your mind at, Chris?
No matter what you use, you're screwed because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think I did a decent video, of how to and the misnomers about glass, and none of that stuff works. The wet paper towel, the palm olive, it just doesn't do anything. And the only thing that I found that does work is focusing extremely close to the glass. And this is untouched. I did not do anything to this glass besides focus into it, and I never had to clean it off. I didn't have to touch it, and it's perfect. It looks like it was sandblasted. And that's just with a CO2 laser. I don't remember what the power or the speed was, but focusing through the glass, the beam hits it differently. But yeah, the other stuff doesn't work. I've never had good luck with any of those other tricks.
The only thing I've found that works as far as a coating is I've used acrylic paint. Because essentially all the paper towel, the Blaze Orange, the soap, the chemical sprays, or the Surmark or whatever, basically all that stuff is doing is helping to dissipate the heat.
Right.
It's not helping the engraving. It's basically just it's spreading that heat over a bigger area, so it doesn't stay focused in the place where you're engraving.
And no matter what, you have to clean that ablation off because it's just microfractures of glass.
Yep. And even if you get a bad engraving, like I don't know if it's the video you're talking about where you use like a Scotch-Brite or a little wire wheel or something
exactly.
to clean it off.
Yes.
Because those fractures, like if you've ever noticed when you're engraving glass and you're going over it and it looks like there's a dead spot, but once it's done, if you scrub it, that flick comes off and it's fine.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of misunderstandings, I think, as far as the power goes, because I know a lot of people, I've seen people use 30, 40, 50% power on a laser doing glass, and then they wonder why it's turning out the way it is, and you're implying way too much heat. And
try that with a wine glass. Try that with a wine glass as it spins around and you hear tink 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 tink.
Yep.
As it just
I've done that. I had one shatter on me. Someone brought a dollar store wine glass, like paper thin. And I'm like, well, I'll give it a shot, but I don't think it's going to work. And sure enough, as soon as I got probably a dozen swipes into it, it just shattered.
It can't handle the heat.
And crystal is another one that's really bad with that. So crystal, you have to really be careful with, especially lead crystal, because lead crystal will actually absorb the heat, and it acts kind of like tempered glass. If you heat up one spot too much, the whole thing will just shatter. So it's a fine line, I think, but it's definitely doable. You can get good results out of pretty much any laser. You just got to know and find out what that laser can do, and you want to do just enough to leave a mark.
So not like I want a small plug. If you go to the House of Lasers video on glass, chance.
Plug away.
No, if you go to the House of Lasers video on glass, I actually run a material test using different powers across the whole thing. And I think I even go up to like 80% power. And the only thing that's going to get you is depth. if it's a decent glass. Like, I mean, a pint glass, a rocks glass, they have some meat to them.
Yep.
And you can actually engrave them quite deep, and it'll come out well. But the thinner glass you got to watch out for. So sometimes your Dollar Tree glass that's shitty, but it's thick and meaty, is actually really good.
Yeah.
What is it? A Copa glass, Websteront store. They sell amazing stuff at good prices. Buy a case of those. They're like 25 cents a piece.
Yeah.
Just practice on them. Run some material tests with a line of different values down the center. You'll figure it out real quick.
Yeah, a lot of times I like on glass, especially recently, is I'll engrave them at probably 50 to 60% power on my 60 watt, and I'll do it in 2 passes. And what I do that, and I actually go back and color fill it, and put the gilder's wax into it, rub it in, let it sit for a minute, wipe it off, and then come back and buff the rest of it out after it dries. A lot of people love that, like especially doing whiskey bottles, wine bottles, anything like that. That's like a commemorative or kind of keepsake type item, for a gift. People absolutely love it.
I
But
will
you
agree with
you have to go pretty
Tommy.
deep though.
I will agree
What's
with
that?
Tommy.
Oh, UV. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, UV is the way. I mean, but currently it's slow.
Yeah. The UV is tricky.
It is tricky.
It's very tricky because you can easily, if you have a piece of glass or a glass cup, if you get the focus wrong, you can actually engrave on the back side of the glass. It'll actually go through the glass and etch the backside. And especially if you have something that's uneven, like on metal and things like that, it's not such an issue. But on glass, if it's not even or if it's got ripples in it or anything like that, and the focus changes, you can have a lot of negative effects with UV. So it is very hard to do, especially like I see he's got a beer or a bottle there, and you got to be really careful with that stuff. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, I mean, the UV is incredible, and I was able to do a positive and then a negative and fill.
Yep.
But yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. But yeah,
like I was saying with the UV is if you go, especially on bottles like that, I've wanted to use the UV, but if you don't have the settings right, you can actually cause fracturing on the inside of the bottle, which obviously would put shards of glass in the bottle, which is not good. So you got to be really careful with that.
Yeah, I mean that's like UV is the closest you're gonna get to sandblasting.
To a perfect finish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that a JDS glass there, Chris?
I haven't used any of the JDS glass yet.
Where's that pint glass from?
That's a Copa.
Mm.
Yeah. From Websteront store. Yeah, I believe. Nice. Yeah, I mean that came out fucking badass.
Ooh, yeah, I like that a lot. How do you guys keep up with different channels of messages and comments and everything? That's like,
oh god,
the most frustrating yet rewarding experience ever. Because like, I'll admit, I've had people be like, "I messaged you on this platform. What's taking so long?" Like, it's like, sorry, I didn't see it. Like, when I have a viral video, so my last viral video was like 2.3 million views, and I had like 17,000 messages from that.
Good God.
And like, there's no way for me to message them all back directly, and I feel terrible because like most of them are like, "Oh my gosh, that had me laughing on or rolling on the floor laughing." I was like, "Cool," but like, I need to find a message that says like, "Hey, you screwed up my order."
To hand pick them, right, and to send them to you, like.
I mean, balance them because I have, I think 4 or 5 Facebook pages. I've got 2 TikTok and 2 Instagram between Rotoboss and JR Custom Designs. I've pretty much let JR Custom Designs kind of just go. And then when I post on the Rotoboss, I just tag it so it automatically posts to that page anyways. But trying to keep track of them, like you said, people try to reach out to you different ways. And some ways you may not get to frequently. So it does cause kind of a bottleneck or an issue I've found. But I spend like when I go to work in the morning for about an hour, I do nothing but emails and social media. I'll scan through social media. I'll scan through emails, answer questions, emails, whatever. And then throughout the day, I have alerts on my phone for all my pages. So typically, I'll kind of monitor them that way because I wanna be as punctual as I can with responses. But I don't have someone to run my social media. I don't make that kind of money like somebody. But
Yeah. In short, we don't have your problem, so we don't know how to answer it. I mean, that's.
but as far as dealing with it yourself, it's difficult. It gets kind of overwhelming sometimes.
So the only thing that I can say is that with my laser business and with my landscape business, both my Facebook pages, Instagram pages, all direct them to email. Thank you for reaching out. We cannot monitor all of these channels coming in. Please email us.
I need to get with you on how to set that up.
With email, I can track it. I can keep all of that stuff going. I can have other people look at it. And if they are true, are they true people, and are they true customers? Yeah. They'll follow up with a true email.
So there's a lot of features in TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook that kind of mechanize things like that. I need to get more into that. I need to figure out how to do that to where it directs to one place. So I might have to get with you, Chris, on how to figure that out. But
it's literally just a response with the email embedded into it, and they click the email, and it automatically will open up in their email.
Oh, is that those auto responds when you send it to a page or something?
Yeah, it's just an auto response because I don't have time to monitor all these other channels. I've got 3 businesses plus I work for Thunder, so it's impossible to keep track of everything. So send it to an email. My GM will monitor, the emails coming in on Facebook and all that stuff for my landscape company. I can pull the laser business, and I monitor Thunder. So yeah, it's a lot easier monitoring one form over 20. But I mean, obviously, you need to capitalize on every single lead coming in. So that might not be the best option. But when eventually you're going to want to fine tune that chance. I mean, you're going to fine tune that down to the best customers available. Right now, it's whoever's coming in. Right. Whoever's going to pay for a hat, screw it. I want that guy. But eventually, it's going to be, who wants the quality work that I'm putting out, and who's going to pay top dollar for it.
That's kind of where my main business, the JR Custom Designs, like we're in a position now where we can do that. Like we can turn away people, or but at one point, I'm not gonna lie, at one point it was just that. I mean, we were taking every and anything that came across the table because we didn't know what was going to come next.
Right.
And it's nice to be in that situation. And I don't say that Rotoboss is the same way, because it's not. But it's gotten to a point where it's kind of self-sustained as far as that goes. But it's nice to get a business to that point where it's not that you don't care about anybody and everybody. It's just you don't have to please anybody and everybody to make your money. You know what I mean? I don't know if that came out right or not, but Either way, I mean, it's nice to be in a situation where you don't have to feel like you have to jump on everything.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
I
think
mean,
I think we share the same thing. Chances like we want to answer everybody, we want to talk to
yeah.
everybody, and it's taken some time for me to step away from that and not be that involved. I mean, I still am because I'm not, like, if someone calls the number on the rotary, they're getting me. If somebody
Yeah.
sends an email or a message, it comes to me. So I do see that, but I can understand with you, when you're getting thousands and thousands of messages.
Yeah.
To Chris's point, you gotta kind of filter out. Okay, is this guy or girl
The minutia.
just,
Yeah, there's definitely minutia
yeah,
there.
or they actually want to be a customer? Um, and when you're getting that kind of, I could see how that would be overwhelming for you. It'd be overwhelming for me. But you got to kind of, it's kind of like when you're doing a job, right? And you do an engraving and it doesn't quite look right,
To
but
you, to
to
you, it doesn't
you,
look right.
but
Right.
to the customer, it's the best thing they've ever seen.
Right.
So
Five tumblers later, 4 in the trash.
so I mean, it's you got to kind of learn to let go of some of the nuances that make you who you are in that regard. It's not that you care any less. It's just you got to understand that there's going to be imperfections. There's going to be issues because it's all custom stuff. It's like if you put a hat patch on and it's a slightly crooked. Like I've had someone do that to me. They're like, "Oh, it's this far off from the other side or whatever." It's like, seriously, like, and it's like nothing. Um,
As they put it
but
on like this, it's
yeah,
crooked, man. What the hell?
I always laugh
But-
at when people share videos and be like, "I love my hat." I was like, "Ooh, we did not clean that patch good enough." But
yeah,
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, your own worst critic, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So overcoming that, I think, is a big thing with business too. And then you got people that just don't give a crap, and they just put shit out there to make a buck. Like
Oh my
I
God.
talked about it before, where I had a customer come in that was getting some custom merchandise for Michael Jordan, and he brought me one of his cups that he had been getting done by somebody else, and it looked like total ass. As soon as I saw it, I hung my head and I was like, oh man. And then I took it from him and I cleaned it up and it looked fine. Like they literally just engraved it, wiped it off, and then that was it. They didn't clean it up. It was dull brown color, So there's people out there that just don't care.
And they don't know. There's a lot of people out there that just don't know.
Well, that too, but there's a lot of people that don't care though too.
Walk
Yes.
into any souvenir shop and
Oh yeah,
in any tourist town, and you will see a shit engraving, shit cutting. It's just horrible.
yeah.
No cleanup. It's just
Burnt edges, smoke stains. I mean, all
yeah,
kinds of stuff all
it's
over it. Yeah.
insane.
And they're charging like $20 for like a little ornament
But
about
you're
the
gonna
size of a
pay for
baseball.
it. You're there. You have the memory. You want it.
Your
You're gonna pay
kid
for
grabs it and you can't say no, you're a kid.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Well,
Insane.
I can.
Yeah, but you're just
I'm an asshole, but that's all right. No, but yeah. So, has anybody got any questions out there? Let's see, Chris. Exactly. Yep. People
they
still
do.
buy
They
that
will
crap.
buy that.
Yep.
They will buy it for sure.
And it's funny too, because I don't know if you guys have the same thing, but like when you go somewhere and you see the prices on some of these things with things that you do, it's like they're charging what?
There's two versions of that. You go to Home Goods and you're like, this is all made in China and I can't compete.
Yep.
And then you go to a place that is a souvenir shop and you're like, this is ridiculous. I can make this 10 times better.
Yep.
So yeah, it's either way.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, chance for you. I mean, like if I could give you any advice, is just don't give up. Like keep going with what you're doing. Like I said, I mean, I'm proud of what you're doing. I mean, I love
I
it.
appreciate that.
Just don't rest on, okay, now I'm making money. Don't rest on that. Keep up the attitude. Keep up
I don't
the
I don't have that
persistence.
mentality.
I was gonna say I don't
And
think that's even pot. I can't give you advice because I think you're doing it right, man. That's
no, he is. I'm just
yeah.
saying, like I've seen people get to that point or get to a point where they're like, oh, I'm good, and then they just kind of let things fall. They don't keep up on their content. They don't, things like that, and things just fall apart. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
just
but
keep
I mean, but
doing what you're doing, man.
it'll transition that way. It'll transition into something different, which it always does.
Yeah,
You'll transition from the social media aspect of influx of income to something local that kind of relieves the stress. Because now you're like beholden to the TikTok gods, the Instagram gods, and what are their priorities and what are their rules.
Yeah.
So for now, yeah, build the shit out of your company and build the
yep,
shit out of your bank account, and then eventually you're gonna be like, okay, I'm good. Let's build it this way, and
Yeah.
you'll be fine. You'll be fine with it, and you'll be still be able to have the employees, and you'll still be able to make awesome products, but you just won't be beholden to
Yeah.
that crowd, which will be great. It'll be
And
like
so with your growth chance, what obviously you got haters, as you have to at this point.
yeah,
Um,
I've had my fair share.
well, I mean, it's just the nature of the beast.
oh,
Like
is that part of it?
what's the worst thing someone's ever commented or said to you? Like, what would you say would be the worst thing that was like, man, that kind of hurt?
Um. Ooh. Well, I have pretty thick skin. Like people can call me fat. Like I don't care. I like my food and my Taco Bell at 2 a.m. Um, but I think it's the people that are local. There was one local maker, and she called me a copycat because I bought the same Mamaki UV printer from her. And like I'm from a small town, so like she's thinking I'm stepping on her competition, and like I just responded back to her as like, I didn't know me buying the same exact equipment was copying anyone. Not have I've never used one of your designs. I don't want to make stickers. That's not my end game. Like I bought a UV printer machine to make pound
Yeah.
tickets, which I don't know if you saw that, Chris, but for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, I got none. Oh, 1 second.
Time's up.
We made these little tickets for Pound Town for Valentine's
Downtown,
Day.
yes.
It was a one-way
Yeah.
ticket to Pound Town.
Yeah.
And like
I
someone
did
called me
see
a
those.
copycat for that. I was like, really? You have your own client base. I have mine. I'm
Right.
like the Spencer Gifts on TikTok.
Yeah.
So
And that's a good thing. I mean, I know you got embroidery machines now.
yeah, that one right
You
back
got
there.
the you got the
That
UV.
machine is hair pulling.
I hate embroidery. I have a Racoma 15 needle, and I quit doing it. I use it for personal and business stuff, but I don't really do much embroidery anymore. But like for me, I mean, you're kind of growing things as they come. You're pivoting. You're adding to your repertoire, I guess.
Yeah.
But like when I started, it was like throwing shit at the wall to see what would stick. So I had vinyl cutters, vinyl printers, embroidery, sublimation, 3D printers, lasers, CNC machine. I had all this stuff, and 1 month one of it would pay the bills. The next month another one would pay the bills. Just to keep things going. And plus, I've always been one to. I'm never satisfied with
It's the same.
with enough. I always want to do more. Like I'm looking to get into another business venture with fume extractors and stuff for lasers. Um, so, and I see a lot of that in you as well. I mean, and that's good because if one thing doesn't hold you, you've got something else that can.
Yeah.
Chance is still young though. He could
Oh
tell
yeah.
he's got some
How old
time.
are you? How old are
I'm
you?
20,
If you
29.
29. Okay,
You're
yeah. So
good.
you're good to go,
Yep.
and you're part of the technological era. So
Oh, believe me, I
I
am not.
I grew up with Lincoln Logs and Atari.
Hold on,
So
hold on. Let me look at your tickets to see how untechnologically advanced you are.
No, I don't know. There's just some things on, like, for instance, Google or Adobe
Yeah.
Photoshop. I don't understand that crap. I will pay $100 an hour for someone to do something on Photoshop for me.
yeah,
But
yeah. It's
Agreed.
it,
There's
it and
some
that,
things that's not worth it. You know, my personal time is quite important.
yeah.
You know,
Well, that's
beyond the
the
business.
thing is, as a business, you got to know what your time and value in that is, and is it better spent paying someone to do it, or is it better spent you doing it? And
yeah,
that's I think for me that was the hardest thing, is letting go of certain aspects of the business, because like I have an accountant, I have a video person, I have a designer, all these things that I would do before, now I have someone else to do, because to me my time is more valuable elsewhere with the business than it is doing that stuff. Um, so that's one of the things for businesses to kind of understand. And like I said, that was the hardest thing for me, is letting go, because I wanted to do it all. I wanted,
Mhm.
because it's one of those things, if you want it done right, you do it yourself. And that was always my mentality. So it was really hard to let go of those aspects of the business. But it opens me up for more things, which I still don't have time to do the stuff that I want to do. but but so I mean, like I said, with you as social media, especially with your success, and what's up?
When you're done, I want to take over.
Oh, with social media and stuff, obviously you can't do all that yourself and run a business. I mean, social media in itself is a job. Like, there's no way around it, especially with the volume of messages and the stuff that you're doing in TikTok and all that stuff. Um, you know, so making that step to give that to somebody else, is worth its money.
Yeah,
What's
it's
up,
hard
Chris? You
to
raised your hand.
relinquish the reins. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's hard to relinquish the reins, but it's necessary if you want to grow. Um, yeah, I've got to go pack. I've got to leave at 4. I haven't showered yet. So on the ending of this video, I'm thinking that people just don't know Chance. So,
Yep.
like, your wife, your kid, you have kids, you have dogs. I mean, what's up with you?
well,
As we end this, let's leave it on a personal note, because we're kind of talking about personal life and stuff like that. So, who is Chance?
so born and raised here in Minnesota. Grew up near Red Wing, Minnesota. If you know what Red Wing boots are, I'm sure some of you guys have heard of Red Wing boots. Yeah, hometown of that. And then moved to St. Cloud, Minnesota to go to St. Cloud State. Met my wife at a local home improvement store, Menards, if you guys are familiar with
Yep,
it.
I've heard of Menards.
Yep.
So met my wife there, and then started the family just north of St. Cloud after we graduated college and all that fun stuff. One wife only and one kid only. So yeah.
For now. No.
There you go.
Hobbies, work. Honestly, I enjoy what I do. There's
Yeah,
Yep.
better. Like you said, Chris, living the American dream, also the American nightmare, all in the same hour.
Yeah.
that's
Well,
entrepreneurship. That's
a
what it is.
a nightmare is also a dream. So
Yeah.
think of it
But
that way.
no, I mean, on TikTok, you're a face and a product. But I mean, ending this with a personal note of who you are. You actually have a family. You
Yeah.
know, if people want to pick on you and and accuse you of copying their shit and all that stuff, at least they know that you're a normal guy.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
my friends outside of social media know that I'm like humble, down to earth.
right?
I'm sure I portray that on the internet because I'm very thankful and blessed in what has happened and what will continue to happen because
That's all that I've picked up from that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, from
Yep.
what I've seen, you seem very humble and actually shocked by what has happened, which is great.
Yeah. I'm still flabbergasted when I go to my family like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they're like, "What do you do now for a living? You're not working in big corporate America." I was like, oh, I make apparel. I don't say I make hats that make your jaw dislocated from dropping it so much. So
What did
yeah,
what did that guy's hat just say? Oh my god!
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the best one was the Grim Reaper Tongue Deeper hat for Halloween.
Yep.
It was the Grim Reaper, but he was licking a behind.
Yeah, that was a classic.
I got sent a cease and desist from that because I guess it was copyrighted.
Oh,
But
really?
I bought the
Really?
file off Etsy. I did my commercial rights, all that fun stuff from the seller on Etsy. It was a different design, had different words and all that, but I got a cease and desist from it. I'm pretty proud of it, actually.
Well, if you got people coming after you, you know you're doing it right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You know, obviously, aside from copying, that's just not cool. But you know, if you got haters, you're doing something right because otherwise
Absolutely.
they wouldn't give a shit about you. So,
Yep.
and that's just the truth. I mean, if you don't ever have a hater, then you're not doing something right because you know
Not
it's just-
rocking the boat enough for sure.
that's a fact. I got my fair share of haters.
I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
He is, but
Called you
but-
last week asking for parts because you didn't send the right parts, Jason. How dare you?
what I sent the right parts just for the wrong machine.
But like,
But-
also end on a note, we're all human. We make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being so tired one night where I sent the customer the wrong hat again, and he emailed me like, "Are you fucking with me? Like, you sent the wrong hat again." I was like, "Oh my gosh."
I've done that before. I've done that. I feel you on that. Like,
But, I don't remember what company it was, whether it was a laser company or my landscape company, and they did respond with, "All right, now you're just fucking with me." And, but for that humor to come back, that's awesome.
Yeah.
yeah,
At least you can approach it that way,
yeah.
Like, oh shit, well maybe I am.
I mean, the worst they
Didn't
could,
mean it, but now it's funny.
the worst they could do is get mad at you. But you know, like you said, in the end, we're all human. We make mistakes.
Yeah.
And like I don't have my hand in the cookie jar like I used to. So, you know, a lot of those mistakes are made by my people. But you know, as a business, obviously, I take responsibility for that, and that's the key is, you know, take responsibility for it, fix the problem, and just move on. Don't dwell on it. Don't whatever. Just take your licks and keep going. So
Learn from the mistakes.
so
All right.
all right.
I'm done.
Well, we're
Yeah,
over time. So
It's
Chris, you got any closing remarks you'd like to?
no,
say?
man, Chance, keep at it. If you need anything, let us know.
I'll
I'm
email
here.
the inbox.
Yeah, you just email me.
I'll blow it up.
But otherwise, no, appreciate everybody. Thanks for joining in and watching.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice meeting you as well.
Awesome.
Both of you in video chat form now. So
Do you have
Absolutely.
anything you want to put out there?
no, just be yourself, be unique.
You want
make
to
content and
put
have
anything
fun.
out there, Chance?
I mean, if you want to visit my social medias, shameless plug, customgrainsmn.com
Absolutely.
or customgrainsmn on every single platform. Besides YouTube, I'm just Custom Grains on there, I think, or maybe I don't even know. Just Google me.
Awesome.
Cool.
You can feel free to put it in the chat as well if you want, so people can
I have
reach
to
out if
connect
they
my
want
YouTube
to.
account. You know,
Yeah.
good old YouTube account
Oh,
on a work
okay.
computer. So
Oh,
if you need to get a hold of me, message me on TikTok. I won't message back.
awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap this up then. Thanks everybody for watching this episode. Thanks Chance for coming on and
Thanks for inviting me.
talking to us. Let us know a little bit about you and how your journey has come and continues to grow. Chris, good to see you again since you were gone last week.
I apologize.
We got another episode coming up next
Shit.
Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember. Let me see. We got another guest coming on next week, so it'll be the 27th at 8 p.m. So
That works.
we'll post on that next week. Again, thanks for watching. Keep up the good work, Chance. I look forward to seeing what you come up with in the future. Keep your head up and keep doing what you're doing, man. Love
Thank
it.
you. Have a good night.
That's pretty much it. So if anybody else doesn't have anything else, then we'll go ahead and close this out, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Good night,
Take care,
guys.
Bye.
Oh, look at that fancy stuff.